candidates for county supervisor talk about lots of important issues that are important to you as taxpayers and all the other constituents represented in District 3. As Deborah said, I'm Charlie Piscitello, and I have two roles. I get to serve as the Chief People Officer here at Petco, which is, I think, the most awesome job on the planet, because I get to work with people and animals every day of my life. And I also serve as a board member for the Chamber, which, as you know, that's where connections happen, and the Chamber does a lot of great work in the community and is proud to sponsor this fourth debate between our county supervisor candidates. So we got a couple ground rules. The candidates have not seen these questions in advance. A number of people got together and talked about what issues would be important to have the candidates address. And what I'll do is introduce all the candidates, read a little bit about their backgrounds, and then we'll launch right in. And each candidate will have an opening opportunity to talk for 3 minutes about themselves, their platform, and why they are the best candidate to be county supervisor. And then we'll get into a series of questions, and we'll talk about things like taxes and things like infrastructure and water and government and all the usual things that you care about as taxpayers. Does that sound good? Yeah. All right, great. So first, farthest down from me, I'd like to introduce our first candidate, Sam Abed. Sam, welcome.
Thank you.
I'll read a little bit about Sam here. Sam spent 12 years in a successful engineering career with IBM worldwide. And he's the founder and president of Abed Corporation and Pacific West Consulting for quite a number of years. He was on the city council in Sandag from 2004 to 2010. He was elected mayor of Escondido in 2010 and 2014. Serves on numerous boards, including Regional Planning, Transportation, and Local Formation Commission, the Escondido Economic Development Workforce Development Board, San Diego Economic Development Corporation, and he's a former member of the San Diego Workforce Investment Board. Lots of history and recognition in the community, and personally, Sam lives in Escondido with his wife Mona, 2 daughters since 1987. He plays tennis, he's fluent in 3 languages, and he likes to travel. He's been to 25 countries. So Sam, welcome. Thank you. Next closest to me, we have our current supervisor, Dave Roberts. Dave, welcome. Nice to have you. Dave has served on the County Board of Supervisors for the past 3 years. His focus has been on public safety, working closely with the Deputy Sheriff's Association, the Police Officers Association, Sheriff Bill Gore, and District Attorney Bonnie DeMantis. His other legislative priorities include the county's foster care and adoption services, domestic and child abuse, the Alzheimer's Project, renewable energy, and conservation and open space preservation. He's worked with other board members to achieve a AAA credit rating for the county with a healthy reserve fund, no deferred maintenance, and no new taxes. Prior to his election to the county supervisor role, Dave completed 2 terms on the Solana Beach City Council, served as the city's mayor and deputy mayor. He began his public services commissioner for the Solana Beach Budget and Finance Committee and vice chair for the Friends of the Solana Beach Library. He's a former corporate officer for SAIC here in San Diego, a Fortune 500 company. He also founded, owns, and operates his own multi-state real estate management company, and was a senior manager for Healthcare Information and Management Systems Society, a nonprofit organization. Prior to that, he served as an appointed health policy advisor in the administrations of President Barack Obama and former President George Bush. Dave also worked for the U.S. Air Force at the Pentagon and in Europe, played a key role in developing TRICARE, the military's current healthcare insurance system. He currently serves as Vice Chair of the Board of Supervisors, Second Vice President of the California State Association of Counties, Chair of Sandag Shoreline Preservation Committee, and is immediate past Chair of the San Diego River Park Joint Powers Authority. He lives in Solana Beach with his family. He has 6 children, ages 3 through 30. Again, welcome, Dave.
20.
Oh, 20. Sorry, 20. I'm not that old. No need to make you older. Yeah. All right. And finally, closest to me, we have Kristin Gaspar. Kristin, welcome.
Thank you.
Kristin served as Chief Financial Officer for Gaspar Doctors Physical Therapy. That's a business she has grown with her husband, Paul, who's here with us, to comprise 6 offices and 138 employees. As a young mother, Kristin decided to run for the Encinitas City Council. She won. running on a platform of fiscal responsibility and stressing the need to get back to the basics of enhancing public safety, protecting our environment, improving streets and neighborhoods. And in 2014, she ran to be the very first elected mayor of Encinitas and was successful in that bid. On the city council and as mayor, Kristin's delivered balanced budgets every year while maintaining the highest credit rating for the city. She led the way in building a new 44-acre community park, one I've been to a number of times. She fought to make sure sand on the coastline was replenished, and she helped to block a sales tax increase that would have hurt small business owners. Kristin and Paul have 3 children, Carson, Peyton, and Addison, 1 dog, Frankie, woohoo! And in her free time, she coaches the La Costa Canyon Pop Warner cheerleading squad and is a 3rd grade civics instructor at Mission Estancia Elementary School. She's a graduate of the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism and Mass Communication at Arizona State University. Welcome, Kristin, and welcome to all of you.
Thank you.
All right. So, we're going to give each of you 3 minutes to tell us a little bit about your platform, why you're running for county supervisor, what you think the most important issues are. And if you could, for us, focus on what you believe maybe the 3 most important issues are in the county, and also what your role is as county supervisor in addressing them, all right? And we will start with Sam.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to our debate here. Thank you for my friends here, competitors, for running for office. It's a big decision to make to serve the public. I'm a proud immigrant to the greatest country in the world. I came from Lebanon. I was working for IBM in management and marketing. The Civil War started, traveled 25 countries. I understand the culture and I understand the inclusive culture of being in San Diego County. I came to this country because of the values, because of the freedom, because of the American dream, because of the personal responsibility. And I see these values eroding under my own eyes. I ran for office in 2004 and won every election decisively or by a landslide. I wanted to do the same thing for my county. When Supervisor Roberts' scandal started, I decided to run for office. It's unacceptable to serve the District 3 in San Diego County with that kind of issues. I have the experience, I have the integrity, and I have the leadership to be the supervisor, to make the county the best county in the United States. The county is a big business. The county is bigger than 22 states. It's the 4th largest county in the nation. You need experience to run the $5.4 billion budget. I have turned my city around with the leadership of my city council majority. I turned the city around. I took the city from $16 million deficit to $8 million surplus during the term of my mayorship. And also I brought 1,000 new jobs to Escondido. I brought 950 net new businesses to Escondido. I created an economic development worth $1 billion as we speak in Escondido. We have 25 significant projects of housing and commercial project in Escondido that created economic prosperity. I want to bring the same values to county government. My priorities are very simple. Public safety is #1. I've been endorsed by the Escondido Police Officers Association, by the Firefighters Association, and I will put public safety first. And also infrastructure is very important. Our water quality and availability is a big issue. And the 3rd issue is land use. The city is in a good financial situation. It's a AAA rating. It was in 2008, it was rated as a AAA. So we need to maintain that financial strength. But more importantly, we need to create economic prosperity to make sure our businesses and our families prosper and we create the American dream for all who live in the San Diego County. Thank you for your support.
Thank you, Sam. Dave.
Well, first of all, I want to thank the North San Diego Business Chamber for hosting this tonight, and thank the San Diego County Taxpayers Association for helping with it also. And thank you all for being here. I am Dave Roberts, and I've been honored for the last 4 years to be the 3rd District County Supervisor, the first newly elected supervisor in 20 years here in San Diego County. And my story was very simple 4 years ago. I thought San Diego County was a great county that could be even greater. I wanted to make changes to the county that I thought would be helpful, and that's exactly what I've done for the last 4 years, is to deliver results that matter to all of you and all of my constituents in the 3rd Supervisorial District. My district is large and very diverse. It goes from San Pasqual Valley to Grantville, from Encinitas to La Jolla Farms, and across the 52 corridor. I have some of the wealthiest communities in my district and some of the poorest communities. Over the last 4 years, I've tried to work closely with all the chambers of commerce in my district and the business chamber to make sure that we keep our spotlight on what our priorities are. You know, first and foremost, our priority is to protect our quality of life here in the county of San Diego. We have so many competing interests, and we need a county supervisor. And I think if you look at either of my competitors' financial disclosure forms, you'll see who's funding their 2 campaigns, and you'll see what this is all about. I think second, this campaign is about public safety. I've been endorsed by every major public safety organization in the county, and I'm really proud of that, including the Deputy Sheriff's Association, the Probation Officers Association, the Peace Officers Association, and on and on. These people know that I understand what public safety is and how important it is to the county. Third, I think that having financial stability is really important in this county. We have a $5.4 billion budget, and we have a AAA bond rating from all 3 credit rating agencies. Only 6 counties in the entire United States can say that, and that's extremely important to the overall fiscal stability of this county. And our county didn't get that credit rating until I joined the Board of Supervisors in 2013, and it has been renewed every year since I've been there. I'm the only one of the 3 of us that has an advanced degree in public financial management. I know the value of a taxpayer dollar. And finally, I want to say the county's primary function is to deliver services to those most in need. And that's what I want to make sure that we have the ability to do. We recently launched the Alzheimer's Initiative with Supervisor Diane Jacob. It's a critical issue to many members of our community who are facing this, over 60,000 people nowadays. I ask for your support. Tonight you'll hear about our differences, but I hope that you'll again re-elect me as your county supervisor. Thank you very much.
Well, good evening. My name is Kristin Gaspar, proud mayor of the city of Encinitas, and I first and foremost want to thank you for being here tonight. You could be anywhere, but you're not. You're here, and the opportunity for us as candidates to present before you is really important. So thank you for taking the time out. You know, my dachshund Frankie would never approve of me being anywhere but at his side, but tonight I think he'd be proud that I'm here in the Petco facility, so I'm thankful to feel quite at home, and thank you for accommodating us candidates as well. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself. First and foremost, the mayor of Encinitas, that's something that I've taken a lot of pride in. Did I ever think I would be serving anywhere in politics? Absolutely not. So be fearful if you're out here today, because this could very well be you. But you know, my start really can be summed up with one word, and that's gratitude. My mom located to North County when I was 5 years old, and the reason she did so is because she was a single parent with 2 children, needing to figure out a way to raise her kids in a safe community with plenty of opportunity for us educationally. She wanted to make sure that North County, San Diego provided that for us. And she made an excellent choice coming here. Not only do we live in the most beautiful place on earth, we live in safe communities, and we have great educational opportunities for young people here in San Diego County. We need to preserve that. We need to expand on that. So as a young person, I always felt just so grateful to be here and knew that I would give back at some point in my life, but needed to find my way in the world first. And I did so by building a business alongside my husband. I'm so thankful for you, Paul, and I'm so happy that you're finally here tonight. We're usually tagged you're it with watching over the kiddos, and my son Carson. I'm really proud of you guys and your help in all this effort. But we needed to create something for ourselves. We founded Gaspar Doctors of Physical Therapy in a 700 square foot space. We've built that today to our 7th office opening in Carmel Valley with nearly 140 employees. I understand what it takes to grow jobs in our county because I've done it already. I serve as the company's chief financial officer. In addition, I'm a mother to 3 young children, ages 10, 8, and 6. And I can assure you that people were thrilled that I showed up at their doors running for city council, absent a long history in public service. They were thrilled that someone showed up with pulling along a red flyer wagon with 3 kids, someone that was very much committed to their community. In the future for San Diego, first and foremost, we need to make sure that we preserve quality of life and that we find our communities to be safe, like my mom did when she located here, and that we have plenty of educational opportunities for our young people, and more importantly, the jobs available to our residents to make sure that we maintain high quality of life overall throughout the county. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight.
All right. Thank you all of you for your opening comments. And we'll start off with a question, and these questions are developed by a group including some of the North Business Chamber members and board members. You all mentioned security and sort of well-being of the region, right? So San Diego is considered by Homeland Security as one of the most at-risk counties for a significant incident for a number of reasons, right? The amount of open space we have, our earthquake and fire risks, our heavy military presence, and our border adjacency being close to Mexico. What would you do as county supervisor to ensure that the infrastructure and the infrastructure financing is in place to address our preparedness as a region? Because many voters think we're not well prepared. So I'll start with you, Kristin.
Wonderful. Well, we can learn from other events throughout the county where we really have had to work between various agencies. So I'm going to use as an example the most recent wildfires that the county experienced, and the ability for multiple agencies to come together and really be able to work with one another in time of crisis. I think we discovered through the fires and that whole experience that we need to make sure that we invest in the proper technology so that we have the ability for agencies to work together. And that's something that really stood as a barrier to our ultimate success. Yes, we did a good job in managing that. Could we have done a better job? Absolutely. So the investment in technology is something that I think can be an easy oversight, but something we need to, at a time where we're not in crisis, really take a critical look at how well our agencies can work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Sam, your point of view.
I think public safety is very important. Escondido is very proud to have lowered the crime rate 22% in 2014, and it's the safest since 1980. Now, the public safety is very important. Escondido is very proud to host the command center when the fire happened in 2007 and 13 at Petco Park. I was there at the command center. We made sure that the coordination among all the government agencies is very important. So we need to coordinate, we need to collaborate. I have done it in Escondido, and I bring the same experience to county level, to county government. The infrastructure is very important, and that's when experience comes in. I'm the only one who has served on SANDAG board, the regional agencies on the board. That's where the decisions are made, to make sure our infrastructure are well spent in San Diego. We manage $1.4 billion budget, and I think that's the experience that I'll bring to the county government to make sure our infrastructure is well spent in San Diego region.
Thank you. Dave.
So I think public safety is critical to the county, and I'm the only one of the 3 candidates that have experience at the federal, state, county, and local level. Served in 2 presidential administrations, served at the state level, the county level, the local level. One of the things we've done at the county is to make sure we have tremendous fire protection. It's so important. The county's responsible for the unincorporated area. We work closely with all 18 incorporated cities. Recently, I made sure that we had a candidate physical abilities test. There are only 3 programs like this in the state of California. We did not have one in San Diego, and the county helped fund this program and bring it to Miramar College over in the Scripps Ranch, Miramar area. Next, we're going to be purchasing some equipment for Palomar College right here in Escondido to make sure that they have a simulation center. These are the kinds of collaborations, working together to find solutions that protect us all. And you have to have the experience and the ability to be able to do this.
Great, thank you, Dave. So our next question is really around the other issue that all the candidates talked about in their introduction, and that's really the economic vitality of the region. We all know that small business is really the backbone that makes business successful. And you gotta be a small business before you can become a big business, right? What have you done and what will you do as county supervisor to specifically support small business? What programs will you put in place? Start with Kristin.
Well, absolutely. Small businesses are the backbone of our economies here at the local level, the state level, the national level, but we haven't been doing all that we can to protect our small business community and make sure that they continue to thrive. Now, does that mean subsidizing our small businesses? Absolutely not. But it takes candidates who really understand, and elected officials who understand the barriers that exist today for a small business to be able to keep their doors open. There are so many things that impact the success of a small business. For example, it starts with a simple tenant improvement. What kind of red tape are you going to face when you go down to the county? You know, what type of improvements are you going to be required to put in that are so expensive that you find you can't actually open your small business? This is something that's really critical, that we pay attention to all of the barriers that stand in the way of our small business success. If we keep losing our business community out of state or to surrounding counties, cities where things are simpler, we're going to find that our quality of life suffers for all. Thank you.
All right. Sam.
Well, I've done it already. Innovate the 78. This is a collaboration between the 5 mayors of the 78th corridor, creating an unprecedented collaboration between the 5 cities on the 78th corridor to create a regional economic powerhouse. We are a leading example in the country to do that. In Escondido, we have brought over almost 1,000 businesses, net new businesses to Escondido. And also, we have streamlined the regulation. The state is killing us with the CEQA, with a lot of regulations that is really anti-business. It's against the business interests on a small business level to big business level. In Escondido, we have done that. We have streamlined the regulation, and under my mayorship leadership, I brought down the regulation to only the state level. We are not requiring any more than the state level in most of the issues. So that's why, as we speak today, in Escondido, we have 25,000 significant projects, building 1,000 homes and quality commercial projects in Escondido worth $1 billion. I will bring the same experience to county government.
Thank you. And Dave, what would you do to support small business?
Well, first of all, it is true that small businesses are the backbone of the entire county and our economy. And I think first and foremost, I think both my opponents should adopt the Think Local First initiative, as have all 5 county supervisors at the Board of Supervisors. The Think Local First initiative is a tremendous program to make sure that when we're making economic buying decisions that we think local first. And recently, I have mandated it in my office for any grants that we do in the 3rd Supervisorial District. An example I mentioned on the last answer, this cut suit that we're buying, it's actually being manufactured here, that Palomar College is buying, and it's being manufactured in the Mira Mesa, Sorrento Valley area. So I'm really pleased of that initiative. There's so many other things that we need to do, and I'm working on rebuilding the film industry of Mayor Kevin Faulkner. It's going to bring in thousands of jobs. We just put in the Property Assessed Clean Energy Program. It's brought in over 5,000 new green jobs. These are the types of things we do to incentivize the economy, working with small business.
Excellent. So, you've heard a perspective on what they would do to support small business, and both locally and the region. You know, small business, big business, it all requires employment, labor, and jobs, right? California, San Diego, everyone's talking about minimum wage increases and pressure on businesses to have to pay more for labor. Do you support minimum wage increases or not? And what do you feel the best way is to manage those rising costs for business? What can you do to help business do that? Start with Sam.
It's a very good question. You know, it's very unfortunate that somebody can live on $8 an hour or $9 an hour. It has to be reviewed. But this is not a job. This is a transitional stage in young people's life to get to a career. What we can do is create good paying jobs that pays higher wages. We have done it in Escondido. We created over 1,000 new jobs in Escondido. And I think this is the economic prosperity is very important. Once you create good paying jobs, then people don't have to work for $8 or $9 an hour. But I'm against putting a minimum wage at $14 and $15 an hour because San Diego and California in general, it's already at a competitive disadvantage. If we have the higher taxes, the most regulations, the higher minimum wage, then businesses are going to leave us. So we have to make sure we balance the minimum wage against the competitiveness because it's very important for business. And Supervisor Roberts, Escondido is on the local think local first. We are on board and we're the first one to do that. So economic prosperity and creating good jobs will address that issue.
Kristin.
I absolutely do not support the $15 minimum wage increase. As a business owner, this is an issue that I take quite personally. You know, we can go out and we can advertise for a front office position and in a matter of hours have 200 applicants. You know, if we were to advertise for that same position and have nobody respond to it, we might take a second thought about the wage that we're offering for that particular position. You know, it really is unfortunate that this type of a program is going to limit the availability of jobs. And more importantly, it's going to eliminate the possibility that our young people are going to be able to take these jobs. So to me, an initiative like this actually creates higher unemployment rates in the long run. And I think we need to pay close attention to that. Thanks.
You know, one of the things you learn being a county supervisor is many times you don't get to set the rules yourself. And that can be very frustrating. And, you know, one of the things that I have prided myself on for the last 4 years as your county supervisor is to listen to everybody. As the incoming president of the California State Association of County Supervisors, I get to meet with Governor Brown fairly frequently. And Governor Brown was really in a rock and a hard place trying to figure out what to do on the minimum wage. He finally came up with an agreement to get us to a $15 an hour minimum wage on a slower slope than many people wanted. But this state initiative has ways for the state to get out of it if the economy is not working. But I pride myself to listen, to talk, and then to do what the state and federal government tell us, because that's the function of a county. I'm also pleased I'm now chair of Workforce Partnership Board here for the entire county, and we have an initiative to try to employ youth ages 16 to 24. And despite what the mayor of Escondido said, the minimum wage is people across the board. It's not just young people.
So that's an interesting observation. So you made the observation that that is the function of the county, to listen and follow ultimately what the state legislative direction is. How would our other candidates respond to that observation?
Well, I think there's a clear-cut difference because I don't think my role is to listen and to follow. And as an elected official, you also need to be a leader. And there are certainly times where we need to go and we need to provide some pushback and some leadership. You know, one issue I can think of is the strength that we could have with the delegation, for example, dealing with the drought response through the governor's office. I mean, if we all stood up as elected officials together as a delegation and said, enough is enough, we haven't gotten the credit that we deserve for making good investments, our taxpayers have paid more all along for that investment, and gone up and led a delegation, you know, that's where we start to create some impact locally. So I couldn't disagree more that we need to make sure that we do provide a voice in Sacramento or in DC as elected officials. Thanks.
We have to fight the fight. Supervisor Roberts, you want to follow the state and federal advice?
I want to follow the law, Sam.
These are the problems. The federal government has $18 trillion of debt. It's not a financial issue, it's a moral issue to have our kids with $18 trillion. And guess what? When your debt goes above your GDP, you have a problem. Now it's getting close to $19 trillion and our GDP is $18 trillion. By the time we're done with this administration, then we're going to have $21 trillion. That's the same model as Greece. The state has killed us with regulation. It's one-party system, and it's not good for us. We need to fight the fight, and one-party system is not good for Sacramento. We need check and balances, but we need to make sure our county is protected from these regulations, and I wouldn't listen to the state nor the federal government.
All right, Dave, one opportunity for rebuttal.
Well, I think that this is why neither of my, colleagues from the city level will ever be a county supervisor, because the law is the law, and the function of a county is to carry out all federal and state law. That's why you have county form of government. 48 states have this form of government. I'm fortunate I have the ability to be in Sacramento and to be in Washington on the National Association of County Supervisors and share our county's opinion. That's what we do. But after a decision is made, it is our job to follow that decision. And what I get to do is pull all the input together, working with the North San Diego Business Chamber and all the other chambers in my district. Take that input, but once they've made the decision, it's our function to carry it out. That's where the funding, the resources, and the laws come from that we have to execute here in San Diego County.
So clearly some differences in philosophy, as well as how to approach that issue between our candidates. Let's move to jobs. San Diego County has we call it sort of a bimodal employment base. There's this highly skilled, highly paid professional side in technology and biotech and other businesses. And then there's lower skilled, lower paid service workers, pretty high base of them in San Diego. In your view, is that a problem? And if so, what would you propose? What ways would you propose specifically as county supervisor that the county can attract and retain more of these sort of middle-level, middle compensation jobs? Because it seems like it's sort of both ends of the spectrum, but not a lot of in between. Let's start with you, Kristin.
Sure. Well, I do agree that it's a problem. First and foremost, we have an affordability crisis, if you haven't noticed, here in San Diego County. So our young entrepreneurs aren't able to come be young entrepreneurs in San Diego until they're successful, established entrepreneurs. I have this discussion with my son, Carson. I've raised you in the best place on earth. Now your challenge is to find your way back and find your way to a job that can support living here in San Diego County. So we have an affordability crisis going on. At the same time, how prepared are our young people in San Diego County to take jobs that we're establishing? Biotech, for example. I don't know if you're familiar, but in our school district, in my particular school, science is a second thought. We don't have a full-time science teacher at our school any longer. We have to look at where the jobs are trending, and we have to make sure that our young people are ready, willing, and able to take those jobs. Really proud of the business sector here and the number of big companies who are taking young people in as early as junior high school and helping get them learn a skill and get prepared to take a job in biotech. We have a lot of work to do.
Sam,
That's where experience comes in. I have 28 years of private experience and government experience on the SANDAC, North County Transportation District Economic Development Council, and also Workforce Investment Board. And on the Innovate the 78, we are identifying the clusters. Now, the federal government has created almost 0.5 to 1% economic growth. This is what's killing us. We need to get this economy going. We need to empower the private sector. We need to address the regulations. We have cut down regulations in Escondido big time. We need to go and look at the 40 departments and 18,000 employees of the county and create efficiency. Now, we're dealing with the infrastructure on SANDAC to create that big infrastructure and roads and transportation, but also we need to create housing. We need to, if we want to bring qualified people to San Diego, we have to create affordable housing for them to live. So we need to bring talent, workforce, and also capital to make sure the economy is strong.
Dave?
Well, I think there's a number of ways, and I just started a list, and it's like a page long. You know, I talked about the green jobs and bringing in over 5,000, just an initiative Diane, Jacob, and I brought forward. Our relationship with the military, I'm the only one of the three of us that has a strong 30-year relationship working for the military and the Pentagon, overseas with the Air Force, helping to create TRICARE, the electronic health record system. You know, trying to find opportunities for our youth, education, making sure that we work with all our educational institutions to create jobs, small businesses through the Think Local First and others. And both my opponents oppose the Sandag 0.5% sales tax. I'm still trying to figure out what to do because the number one funded item in it is for the Sorrento Valley fix, which Qualcomm and all the corporations in that neighborhood says, if you don't fix this, you're going to lose major corporations in this county. And of course, I work really closely with Biocom to make sure that we look at these jobs. We can create and be an incubator for jobs, and that's one of the things the county has tried to do, working with all the different economic development corporations.
All right, so that's a little bit about the view of jobs and how to close the gap between the high level, highly compensated, and lower level, lower compensated challenge that San Diego County faces. They all mention at some level affordability or housing as part of the issue. So, you know, we know that the housing start process, the construction industry is subject to very, I'd call it arduous processes and permitting, and yet the county has a housing shortage, right? We are short the number of houses we need in the county to support, and even homelessness is rising in San Diego County. But housing costs keep going up, making it a less likely location, you know, to attract and retain businesses, because businesses need labor, of course. What specifically would your solutions be as county supervisor to help rectify that processing and permitting process so that housing starts are easier to initiate and ultimately drive? I'll start with you, Kristin.
Sure. Well, we absolutely, as I mentioned before, have an affordability crisis here in San Diego County, and it's up to elected officials to make certain that we're able to increase the housing stock here so that we bring the prices down. It's going to take a long time, even if we do everything right. And it starts with the right conversation with the community, because growth can be a really scary thing. And so when I have conversations with people in our community, I talk to them about, this isn't about welcoming strangers into San Diego County. This is about taking care of the people who are here. This is about taking care of our young people. Where do they go? This is about taking care of the rising aging population here in San Diego County. Our senior population, where do they go if they decide that they want to, you know, downsize but not necessarily move into a senior living facility? These are the conversations we need to start with our citizens. It's really important that the process becomes more streamlined. For the city of Encinitas, we started with incorporating a single point of contact at the counter, and that seems to be effective, investing in technology, for example, so we can better track projects through the system. Thank you.
There is a problem with the development process in the county level. I think they gave the staff the decision making. It should go back to the elected officials. We need to make sure we streamline the regulation of the development process. Are we going to support every project? No, but we want to support quality projects. While we build 2,000 units the next few years, Encinitas is being sued by the BIA and by the developer for not able to support affordable housing. And Mayor Gaspar is outvoted there, I understand that. Now, we need to, according to the study by the Nazarene University, 40% of cost of housing is due to government regulations. We need to cut that cost down. And according to Sandag, the job growth and the population growth is twice as much as the availability of homes. It's making it unaffordable to a lot of people, to our employees, to our firefighters, to our teachers, to our police officers to live in San Diego County. So we want to make sure we cut down the regulations and make it attractive for developers to build homes in San Diego.
I'll agree with the mayor of Escondido that we have a lot of regulations, but I just met with a developer who told me that Escondido is probably the worst city in the county dealing with regulations to do infill.
The voters said
and
otherwise.
That is one of the problems. We have a general plan in the county. It was 13 years and $18 million to develop that general plan. And the general plan shows where development can go in the unincorporated. It doesn't mean it's set in stone, but it gives us an idea of what we can be doing based on the infrastructure resources that we have. The mayor of Escondido and I serve on the regional planning committee. We try to look at these issues and figure out with all the cities and the unincorporated where our housing stock can and can't go. These are tough questions, but throughout all of this, you have to keep in mind, we cannot destroy our quality of life here in San Diego County with having overdevelopment and congestion. Just go out to the 7815 any time of day and look at what it is. It is a traffic jam. We've got to figure this out smartly.
Can I respond to Escondido?
Sure.
Supervisor Roberts, we have 25 national developers building homes in Escondido.
Large scale, nothing small.
And every developments mitigate their impact on traffic, on safety,
The
on
7815 doesn't
noise,
show that.
on everything. So yes, you want to stop building homes for our kids and for our employees, it's your choice. Escondido is the most desirable city now to build affordable housing, and we're very proud of it.
I'll respond.
Anybody with a
I'll
response?
respond. It's just not true. Developers come to me all the time. We cannot do infill development. We have to do these 17,000 people projects because of the cost of doing development based on the rules that you've put in your city and other communities. The county did before I got there, and I have helped implement it, the Red Tape Reduction Task Force. We have cut the rules at the County of San Diego. We have developers here tonight. It's not perfect, but it's a lot better than it was 4 years ago.
So, a little bit on housing, right? Interesting and controversial topic for many. Let's go to water, because without water, we don't need jobs or housing, right? What is your, I guess, current view of the county's water supply, reliability, and cost? And what would you do as county supervisor to improve upon those things if your view is not so good? I'll start with you, Sam.
We have done it in Escondido. We have the sewer facility in Escondido, and we have allocated over $200 million to do recycled water. We are spending $80 million today, the next 5 years, and the remainder will be spent to create a recycled water for our agricultural customers. By the way, having walked 16,000 homes in the district, I know that water is an issue for our county. We have to make sure we address the water availability and the water quality. And we have done it in Escondido, and we want to make sure that San Diego has done a lot to store water and to do a lot of mitigation. That's why the state needs to exclude San Diego from this moratorium. We are doing a lot, and I think the San Diego Water Authority is doing a lot. We need to make sure we use the technology. We want to make sure we continue to conserve water, because it's very important, not only for our residents, but for the economic growth and the businesses.
Kristin.
Well, I'm surprised to hear Mayor Abed bring up stormwater, because he's had some issues with stormwater quality and obtaining the proper permits when it comes to his own projects in Escondido, because he sometimes has a different set of rules to abide by. When it comes to water in San Diego County, I am really proud of the work that we've done. We have to continue to build on that. We have to continue to diversify the water portfolio, and more importantly, we need some leadership up in Sacramento so that Sacramento understands the investments that our county has made in making sure that we're not dependent on other sources. We're creating a drought-proof water supply here in the county. It's something we ought to be proud of. Are we all paying a little bit more to do that? Yes. Is it the smart thing to do? Yes, because look at other areas throughout the state. They're really hurting right now, where San Diego County is not. I'm fully committed to continuing to diversify that water portfolio. Thanks.
Supervisor Roberts.
You know, at the County of San Diego, one of the things we do amongst the 5 supervisors is divide up our duties. And so I have the ability and the honor to serve on the San Diego County Water Authority Board, which is a 36-member board that the County Board of Supervisors fought to get a seat on over 25 years ago. We don't get a vote, but we get a bully pulpit. And I would agree with both my colleagues, and I'd like them to go up and try to talk to Governor Brown. I've talked to him until I'm blue in the face, and he does not want to take the prohibition off San Diego County. That's his decision as a governor. We've made the investments here, and we have done all the great things. We're suing Metropolitan, trying to get them to stop overcharging us for water. We're doing a lot of smart things. Here in the county, we're lining canals that bring water in here, and we're saving money. We're building new infrastructure. We just raised San Vicente Dam. But one of the problems that we have right now is water that we're creating through the Poseidon desal plant is that we're having to pay twice now for that water, once to get it, and then we have to store it, then we have to pay to clean it up again. It just doesn't make sense. But I guess I asked my two opponents, they both support building a landfill on the water, the river, San Luis River, which is the major source of water for the city of Oceanside. If you want polluted water, why would you build a landfill on the banks of a river? Makes no sense.
I'll give your opponents an opportunity to respond.
Mayor Gaspar, she doesn't have much accomplishments, and the only now desperation approach is to discredit me or attack me personally. There is a non-issue on my land in Escondido. However, Mayor Gaspar and her husband created a non-profit in the last mayor's election to avoid IRS regulations. And we are pursuing that and make sure the voters get the message. So Mayor Gaspar, you need to make sure you address your accomplishment. My accomplishment in Escondido, we created jobs, we created economic prosperity, we addressed the public safety. And all what Encinitas did is ban plastic bag and styrofoam cups and those kind of things. These are not policy, these are not achievement. I'm very proud of my achievement. And Mayor Gaspar, just go and talk about your accomplishments. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I'm happy to have the opportunity to talk about We Love Encinitas, because if you follow politics at all, does it get a little bit depressing? Yes, it does, because things are always so negative. We Love Encinitas is an opportunity to be prideful about the community in which we live. We are the 99% of the people in Encinitas that appreciate the community that we live in. So I'm not shy or embarrassed at all to have started something that's very positive in our community, that's supporting other positive nonprofits. And we love Encinitas.
Yeah, thank you. So, water's important. Taxes are maybe even more important to a lot of people. And revenue into the county, of course. You know, you've all mentioned Think Local First at one point or another during your comments, but I want to ask you to challenge you to go beyond Think Local First. You know, a lot of our tax dollars leave the region through government spending and procurement, right? And that's partly why I think Local First was created. But if elected, what would you specifically do beyond the current program to keep more tax dollars in the region? I'll start with you, David.
Well, I am the elected official, and I have done this. And when Deborah Rosen and her great chamber brought this idea to us, it was like she showed me the numbers for the county of San Diego. I was horrified. I couldn't believe how much money, you know, city of Escondido had money going out, the county of San Diego, all the cities in the county had money going out. And so the first thing I said is, we need to look at this. I went and talked to the chief administrative officer, Helen Robbins-Myers. She is the executive that runs the staff at the county and carries out the board direction. And I said, we need to look at this. And in the 3rd Supervisorial District, I have put it now, if you want a grant that is done through the recommendation through my office, you have to make sure that you have thought local first and go to businesses here in the region. I highlighted just a few minutes ago the cut suit that's going to be made here for Palomar College so they can get certified to also be the 4th simulation certification center here in the state of California. But it's these types of decisions. The county buys thousands of vehicles. Who knew every year for all different types of departments? I said, we need to look local so that money stays here so we can have the bricks and mortar and the tax dollars here for our schools, our roads, and everything else. And so I've done what we're supposed to be doing.
Okay, so that's what's been happening. What would you do in addition to that, Kristin or Sam?
It's about properly prioritizing our spending. My approach may be a little bit different in that I believe strongly that we invest in infrastructure, and this is how it builds a strong economy. So when you drive into any city, that city automatically, without the landmark sign there, tells you a little bit of tale about its fiscal health, right? If the roads are failing, you're kind of thinking maybe the city is too. So by investing in our local infrastructure, making sure that our roads are strong, businesses want to locate there. They know they'll be successful in this community. When our business community is strong, our sales tax dollars remain high. Those sales tax dollars help put needed money back into our core city services. So our property values stay high. Then we have a high property tax base. Sales tax dollars added to property tax dollars help fund the things that we critically need within our cities to keep our communities safe and strong. Thanks.
Well, we have done it in Escondido. We had, when I was elected mayor, we had $16 million deficit. We turned it into $8 million surplus. How did we do that? We cut government size by half. And we also looked for efficiency. $5.4 million budget with 40 departments and 18,000 employees. Don't tell me that you cannot find tens of millions of dollars in efficiency. But to create a good economic environment, you have to create a good infrastructure for the county, and you have to empower the private sector, not the government, Supervisor Roberts, to create jobs. You have to cut the regulations. You have to make it easy. The county needs a lot of work to streamline the regulation and make it easier to do business or to get a business license. Here's the tax chart. Escondido have outpaced the economic growth in the county by twice as much. The sales tax went from $22 million to $34 million under my mayorship. That's 50% increase in sales tax. That's because we created private sector jobs in Escondido. We will do the same thing at the county level.
Supervisor Roberts, any rebuttal to that? All right. So as you think about, you mentioned...
Did he read the UT today?
Yeah,
Just asking.
You all have a big fan in Joshua Stewart at the
Yes.
UT, so yeah. As you think about, and Sam, you just touched on this, so is government too big? In your opinion, you shared your point of view on it. I'd be interested in our other two candidates. Is it too big or not, and what do you do about it? If you cut government, where else do you have to make it up? So, Supervisor Roberts.
Well, again, the reason I got into government was I thought we had a great county that could be greater, and I had a bad experience with the county, and that was over the Child Protective Foster Care System. And I wanted to work with my colleagues, and that's what we've done to make foster care adoption easier for everybody and safer for the children. But is government the right size? I think we're continually looking at government, but neither of my opponents can say they come from a AAA rated community from all three credit rating agencies that only the county of San Diego has. And that's because we have strong fiscal stewardship, and that allows us to deliver services. People are always saying, are you delivering all the services you can be? And I say there's always more we can do, but just in the last few years, we've expanded, as an example, the CalFresh food stamp program 218%. And that's goodness for us because that is federal funding that comes in, goes to our stores, and makes our economy work, and it takes care of the people most in need. So these are just types of examples of, is it right-sided? We look at this every year. We're in the throes of the budget process right now.
Great, thank you, Mayor Gaspar.
Well, first I'll have to say Escondido government needs to be a lot more humble. I want you to look closely at that chart because cities can't operate in a deficit. We are required under state law to operate with a balanced budget. So let me talk for a minute about the importance of a balanced budget. And I always say, beware when people tell you the budget is balanced. It has to be. But the reality is it's never properly prioritized. And so for me, it's really basic, ladies and gentlemen, we get back to taking care of our core infrastructure. We get back to taking care of public safety, those core county services. I am not your candidate that wants to monitor what's going in your vending machine. That is going to be a much lesser priority. But what we do need to focus in on are the things that are going to continue to make San Diego County thrive. But be careful what you look for in charts. No mayor is so brilliant that in 6 months' time they can just turn everything magically around. And as a business owner, I take personal offense to the hardworking businesses that really did turn Escondido around during difficult times. Thanks.
Thank you. So you think about, taxes and tax increases, they're sort of voodoo in today's world, right, to even mention them, but There is talk of a tax increase to go towards environmental programs, you know, in the city of San Diego. Would you be in favor of that? And why or why not? Start with you, Sue.
You're talking about the half cents proposed by Sandag. I'm against it. I think you can find a lot more money in government efficiency than raising taxes. Transnet 1 have been renewed in 2004 by 2/3 of the voters. It was split, third for the roads, third for the freeways, and third for public transit. We supported that. And now the government is coming back to us another half cents to put on the ballot and to raise $18 billion. And here's where the experience comes. We have a budget gap of $2.5 billion for our freeways, for our congested roads. That's what we need. To approve that, they throw in another $15.5 billion for mass transit, and they want people to get out of their car. They have a policy to push people out of their cars. No, it's a culture. We need everything. We need to give people options with public transportation, with cars, with local roads, whatever it is. But I cannot support $18 trillion budget for 40 years where we need only $2.5 billion to fund the freeways.
Supervisor Roberts.
When the Transnet tax was passed, the voters said, we want you to come back and bring us a second quality of life initiative. The words have changed since then, but that's what this was supposed to be. How do you find the right mix to do public transit, to work on our freeways, and to solve some of the environmental concerns? This proposal currently on the table has some great stuff in there for habitat restoration. Those communities support it. Many environmental groups don't support it because they want it all to go to public transit. How do we find that balance? You know, in this proposal, the number one item is to fix the Sereno Valley crossing with the North County Transit District train tracks, which is a major economic hub in my district. So I'm not sure what the answer is, but if and when Sandag does vote on it the second time and sends it to the Board of Supervisors to put it on the ballot, we have been told by County Council it's an administrative decision that we have to let the voters decide. And so you all are going to really have to make that decision and say, did we get this right or not?
Well, I have to compliment Mayor Abed for taking a position. We've both taken a position in opposition, and we've yet to find out what's happening with the seated incumbent. But let me tell you, I often reference this for North County in particular, and anywhere not in the downtown region, as the $30 frozen yogurt experience. Here's why. My son Carson and my daughters came home from school and they were all excited about their jogathon, and they brought me their forms and they said, please Mom, please, if you just write us a check for $150 each, it's really cool. We get a $10 frozen yogurt coupon in return. And I said, well, let me get this straight. You want me to write a check for $450 to the school where right now I'm not in alignment with their priorities, and in return I'm gonna get $30 back? I don't think so. Take a look at the map in particular that speaks volumes, and it shows where the guaranteed improvements are going. It is a ghost town in North County, so if you're living in the bulk of D3, it is a ghost town. Those improvements will not be taking place, and more importantly, they're not guaranteed anywhere in the plan.
North County is
I guess you haven't been on the 78 or the 15.
North County is a vibrant economy. It's a vibrant
No, not a ghost
community.
town, meaning the improvements guaranteed in the Sandag plan are very lean in the North County.
Thanks for the clarification.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. So, the port, maritime jobs, you know, the ocean is next to us, kind of important part of our economic vitality as a region. How important is port expansion and revitalization and the plan that's been developed and increasing maritime jobs to the vitality of the region? How do you view that? I'd start with the current incumbent, Supervisor Roberts.
Well, the port is just critical to our economy here in San Diego, and the districts that include the port are Supervisor Greg Cox, Supervisor Ron Roberts. We've been working on a number of initiatives with them. We reopened the fish market down there, which has been a great success, and there's a number of other initiatives. We have to look at the port because if the port expands, the terminal has to expand, the roadways have to expand. It's not a simple thing. We want a bigger port, and so they're very common complex, collaborative decisions that really have to be made. But I'm pleased to say just one small thing we just did is we got the Port of San Diego to join Mayor Kevin Faulkner's and my initiative to expand the film industry. It's now the County of San Diego, the City of San Diego, and the Port of San Diego, because they see great solutions in rebuilding our film industry here in San Diego County.
Well, it's very important to be a part of the regional economy. Being on Sandag for 9 years, we have worked on the San Isidro crossing. We got millions of dollars from the federal government to make sure the crossing and the goods move fluently between Mexico and San Diego. More importantly, 90% of the goods movement is on freeways. 90%. That's why Sandag's approach needs to focus on the freeways to make sure that the goods move in a very efficient way. So yes, we need to make sure our San Diego region is very competitive. We are a military town. We need to make sure we focus on the expansion of the port and the airport as well. But more importantly, I think we need to partner with the private sector. Government cannot do things alone. The most powerful things, I've done it all my political and professional career, we have to make a partnership between the private and public sector to make this work.
The port is critically important for revenue throughout San Diego County, making sure that we have the revenue that we need to maintain a strong county. So absolutely, the port needs to remain a top priority, and we have to continue to foster our relationship and really have open doors between the county and the port and do more to support them. I think that's critical into the future. I also think in terms of moving people throughout the county, I don't ever find anyone that thinks we're winning at this. I mean, we are spending so much time in our commutes, and it's wasted time away from our lives. We have to do better. I just do not believe that this is a time that we're proud of regional agencies, because we're not doing enough to get ahead of some of the major problems that we're encountering here in San Diego.
So speaking of major problems we're encountering here in San Diego, the homelessness population is growing. What would you do in the next term if you were county supervisor to specifically help address that issue? I'll start with you, Sam.
We have done it in Escondido. Homeless is a very challenging issue. About 8 years ago, Mayor Filer asked me to have a collaborative effort with all the 9 cities in North County. We got together and we formed a partnership with 30 nonprofit organizations, and we created a homeless shelter in North County. And now Escondido has done more, because homeless is very important. It's very unfortunate to have people sleeping on the streets. It's very unfortunate that people go to bed without having food. We need to address that, but it's a very complicated issue. In Escondido, we have partnered with the Interfaith Community Service. We have a year-round shelter, and also partnering with the county, we have done the Wellness Resource Center for veterans, a transition center. We have to do a lot. I think government needs to allocate more fund to address the homeless situation, but more importantly, partner with the nonprofit organizations to work collaboratively to address this issue. It's a very complex issue, but it has to be addressed.
Go for it.
I'm really pleased to see that the County of San Diego is working closely with the City of San Diego and all the jurisdictions on homelessness issue. San Diego Downtown Partnership says it's the #1 issue. This issue is closely tied in with the mental health issue. And one of the things that Supervisor Billhorn and I did was a survey of North County to see where the greatest need was, and it was the 78 quarter. So we're working to open up 2 crisis stabilization units, one at Tri-City and one at Palomar. Just this week, we're going to be cutting the ribbon on our new crisis residential facility that the Escondido City Council supported, but Sam opposed. And we're going to be doing that. We're also doing housing. The county recently appropriated $10 million for housing the homeless with severe mental illness. We're working closely with the veterans community because so many of our veterans are coming out, they're staying here in San Diego, and they're finding themselves homeless. So you've got to make sure that you work on the behavioral health side, on the housing side, and also on the addiction side. All these have to go close hand in hand together, and that's what we're working on at the County of San Diego.
Well, sheltering people and feeding people, that is the Band-Aid that we've been doing for years. And unfortunately, the problem is getting worse. And thanks to Prop 47 and AB 109, we're finding a growing homeless population in our county. So it's time to rip off the Band-Aid. And we're doing it at Encinitas. I'm really thankful for the support, especially one of my colleagues, Councilman Kranz, who's here. 5-0 vote to start doing something, put boots on the ground. The missing gap doesn't have to do with the services that are out there. And for our veteran population, that's where we're starting. $100,000 investment will get our Encinitas veterans off of the streets in our pilot year. And here is how it works. It's not so much that the services are not there. It's that when you're at time of crisis or you have mental health concerns, how do you navigate that system? We have boots on the ground. We have a highly trained, skilled social worker who's working as a housing navigator and understanding each case of homelessness in our community. So we're actually doing something, moving forward, that's sustainable and not just taking care of people. Thanks.
Charlie, can we just address this? You know, we have to put the facts on the table. Encinitas, the mayor, the first initiative she brought forward in 6 years on the council said she wanted to give $100,000 to Interfaith to move the homeless to Escondido. Escondido said, foul, you can't do that. So now 25% of the money is going to Escondido, 75% to her local nonprofit. And they said, we've had navigators for years, we just can't fund them. So I'm glad to hear the city is finally stepping up to the plate and putting in a few dollars to fund navigators, because it is critical. But that's not the answer to this overall problem. It's behavioral health, it's alcohol and drug addiction. We've been talking about how to open up a detox center. They keep closing these down everywhere they try to open these. So I think we've got to get real about this overall. Navigators are not the answer. They've been utilized by CRC, by Interfaith, and all the other agencies. They just haven't been funded because of resource constraints. Now the city stepped up to the plate and said, we'll fund one.
You're welcome.
I just believe that, unfortunately, the supervisor hasn't read the plan. We absolutely need the county. We're partners in this. We are not sending our resources to my nonprofit. The CRC has partnered with Interfaith, who has a lot of experience, years of experience, working with the veteran community and working with the homelessness issue. And what is happening here, folks, there are 12,000, 15,000 programs under the county's 211 system. All of those have value, right? But if people don't know how to access those programs, they can't get the help that they need. You can build all the detox facilities you want. This is about housing people with a permanent solution and getting them the help that they need. We can't do it without the county. That's why a marginal investment by our cities can make a world of difference, and I invite every city in North County to do exactly the same thing, because we're going to make some major differences in this pilot year. And so I would welcome both the supervisor and Mayor Abed to learn more about what the city of Encinitas is doing.
Well, they cannot get their facts straight. I don't understand. You know, voted no for this and voted no. You know what? We have done it in Escondido. We are very proud to provide hundreds of thousands of dollars. We have been doing it since ever I was elected. I championed the homeless shelter in Escondido. We are opening more transitional homes for the homeless. We are doing it. I don't think there should be any disagreement among us on this. But I'm the only one who has been doing it for 12 years on the city council. We have created a regional solution for the homeless, but we need to do more. The county budget, 37% is for health and human services. That's billions of dollars. That's nearly $2 billion. We have to find some more funding to address, as Supervisor Roberts said, the addiction, the drug addiction, alcohol addiction. These are very challenging things to do. We're working with the Solutions for Change in Vista. They're doing great things for the women and children. We need to continue this. This is not a political issue. This is a human issue.
I don't think anyone would argue that there's many dimensions to the issue of homelessness, and it's challenging on many, many fronts, as you've all pointed out. How about education? You know, what do you think is right or wrong with our K-12 system in the county, and what would you do as county supervisor to help support its enhancement? We'll start with you.
Well, I mentioned it briefly earlier. Get our science programming back. If the jobs are trending that direction, why on earth is that not an emphasis from kindergarten all the way up through high school? We need to return to the basics in our school system. That's critically important. We need to create people that are ready to take jobs in our county, teaching kids skills. You know, as I mentioned, I'm proud of the business community in doing this. We need to make sure that we're partnering with them and continuing with that trend. It's also unfortunate that we have a growing problem with drug abuse. Our young people are throwing their lives away by the time they turn 18 by getting addicted to the #1 drug in my particular area being heroin. This is a big issue, and guess what? The kids no longer have proactive drug education in the schools. They've taken funding away for that. They've taken time away. We can make it to 2 hours of yoga class each week, but we have no time for proactive drug education. Big issue. There's a lot of work to be done.
Without my education, I wouldn't have been in America here, realizing the American dream. Education is very important. We in Escondido, I feel strongly about education. The poverty level that is defined by the federal government of $14,000 for a family of 2 and $21,000 for a family of 4 is really the real problem. In Escondido, we supported charter school. We have the Classical Academy. We have the Escondido Charter High School. And I led the effort to bring John Paul the Great University to Escondido. Palomar has the second largest campus outside San Marcos, in Escondido serving 5,000 population. I believe education is very important to address the poverty level, not only in Escondido, but in San Diego County. This is very important. We need to have the commitment, but more importantly, we need to put elected officials in the school districts to put the interests of the kids first before the interests of the union and the teachers union. This is very important. In Escondido, we have to turn the school district around by having people who care about the kids, not the teachers union.
So San Diego's a charter county. Our charter tells us it's very strict. It's the strictest of the 58. It tells us what we can and can't do. We don't have anything to do with K through 12 education. That's not a function of the county. However, education is extremely important to the future fiscal health, future quality of life. And so as a county supervisor, I've made sure that I've partnered with all the schools in my district. And I've done that through doing grants for STEAM and STEM education programs. We've done them throughout all the communities, including Encinitas and Escondido, through funding music programs, because music is so important. Education has been cut. We've been funding a music program over at Mira Mesa, science programs, reading programs. I know the mayor of Encinitas likes to spend time in schools, and I do a reading program at schools more than 6 hours a year. And but I think that it's really important. I've also been doing community gardens. But one creative thing that the county's done is we're actually partnering with Walker Elementary, the poorest school in my district, and we're going to be putting in a children's health clinic in there, because if those kids aren't healthy, they can't come to school and get the education they need.
All right, education is obviously an important issue as well. I'm almost finished with the prepared questions, so before I give you each the opportunity to make some closing remarks, I would like to comment on today's article, or ask you to comment on it. I was half joking when I said Joshua Stewart is a fan of all of yours, but I don't know if you all saw the article today in the Union Tribune, but he called into question many of the comments, statements made by candidates during the debate process. So I'd like each of you to just in your own words speak to that article and your view of it. I'll start with you, Kristin.
Well, first, I'm happy we got all thrown under the bus together. That was a proud moment. And for me, it was a school bus. But here's the reality. That article scratched the surface of the work that I'm doing in the schools. And I'm glad my son's here, because he can attest to the fact that I spend so much time at the local schools, and it's not just my child's school. More importantly, when I started thinking about the contributions that I can make to this office, I had to think long and hard about what do I add that's unique. And for me, it's about being younger and being able to engage with young people. And so City Hall will be able to confirm the number of groups that come through our doors to come do mock city council meetings, to do tours of City Hall. I go out to the third graders in particular throughout all of the school districts within Encinitas Union and talk to the classes about what our local government does. I'm very committed to this and committed to the future of our young people. One program that I do go out and teach that's a formal program that was highlighted is through junior achievement. I'm really proud of the work that I've done, and certainly the article doesn't do anything to really showcase the level of involvement and engagement I have. But you can ask Carson in the red shirt if you're interested.
I'll take it. The media is dishonest, generally speaking. I don't care what Josh Stewart writes. I balance my budget without using reserves. And talking about the government has to balance the budget no matter what, yes, you can balance your budget using millions of dollars of reserves. That's not a balanced budget. A balanced budget in a conservative approach is you spend as much as you make. You don't borrow money from your reserves. If you have a bank account in your reserves and you keep using it to spend month after month, you're gonna be bankrupt. So I don't, Josh Stewart, he can write whatever he wants. I'm taking my message to the voters. I'm knocking on doors. I'm very proud of my achievement in Escondido. Nobody's gonna take this away from me. Not my opponents, not the newspaper. The voters will decide. I've been proudly voted by the voters of Escondido. I got 60% of the votes with 2 Republican and Democrat, well-funded Democrats. I got 40% registration of Republican in Escondido. I got 60% of the votes. I am very proud that my achievement have been recognized by the voters, and that's what matters.
Supervisor Roberts.
So I know many of you may not read the UT, so let me just tell you what the article had to say on me. It said that I was not telling the truth, that I've been in leadership for 3 years. Well, I have been in leadership for 3 years, and it takes the vote of your colleagues to get into leadership for 3 years. I've been the chair pro tem twice, and I've been vice chair once. I did ask not to be chair this year because I'm the incoming chair of the California State Association of County Supervisors. A great honor, not only for myself, but for hopefully the County of San Diego, because it gives me great access in San Diego to talk about the issues that are really important about and need to be heard in Sacramento. And so I'm going to be assuming that office this November, and also got elected to the National Board of County Supervisors. So to say that I have said anything differently other than I have been elected by my colleagues 3 out of the 4 years on the board into leadership positions, it's the truth, and I don't know how else to say it.
Thank you. So, final 2 minutes to give this impassioned group your opportunity to sell your candidacy to them and why you should be the next county supervisor. So I'm going to start over with Sam.
Thank you all for being here. We are very proud to have a Petco store in Escondido. We're very proud of that. Thank you for being here. This election is about experience, integrity, and leadership. I'm the only candidate who can provide experience, integrity, and leadership to county government. My track record have been validated by the voters in Escondido, and the voters will recognize that leadership. I'm a proud immigrant to this country. I'm going to continue to defend the values, the conservative values, personal responsibility, smaller government, government efficiency, a business-friendly county. We need help. I will be the one who can step in and do it. We have done it in Escondido. We turned the city around financially and economically. We brought 1,000 jobs. We created $1 billion of investment. We received 1,000 net new businesses to Escondido, and we created economic prosperity in Escondido. I'm very proud with my council majority colleagues to have turned the city around. I want to do it for the county. I've been proudly endorsed by the San Diego County Republican Party by a landslide vote. I'm very proud to have been endorsed by the 3 congressmen, Congressman Hunter, Congressman Isang, former Congressman Bill Brett. I'm very proud of my track record. I'm very proud of my experience. I'm doing it for the sake of our families. I'm doing it for the love of our country. Go to samforsupervisor.com and vote for Sam. I'm the most qualified. I will make you proud. I will make our county very proud. Thank you for your support. And if you have any questions, you can call me. You can send me an email. My personal phone number is 760-525-2000. I answer my own phone, and I'm looking forward to serve the county with a strong experience, with integrity, and with leadership. Thank you for your vote, and thank you for your support.
Supervisor Roberts.
Well, for the last 4 years, I've been honored to be your supervisor here in the 3rd Supervisorial District. And I think I've delivered a lot of solutions that you can be proud on. I've worked closely with the North San Diego Business Chamber. I've been a strong supporter of Women's Week, which the Chamber is a strong supporter of, and I really appreciate that collaboration. But I want to actually single out somebody here in the audience, and that's Ian Thompson. And his wife used to be the mayor of the city of Encinitas, and she got bashed every which way by a small minority in the city of Encinitas. Many of those same people are now supporting my opponent from Encinitas. But Maggie knew to cut through all that negativity, and I was going to showcase just some of the flyers that these two are sending out that truly have been called obscene by many people that are now supporting me. But she has been a role model. I've told Ian I've kept her picture under my desk every day, and I will every day that I'm in office. But I'm known as the Energizer Bunny at the County Board of Supervisors. I am out and about in my district 7 days a week at 10 to 14 events a day. And I'm going to continue to do that because the voters and the constituents in this district want their county supervisor to be engaged, to be involved. If you want more information, you can go to DaveRobertsForSupervisor.com, or the policy side is SupervisorDaveRoberts.com, and just learn about what we've been working on. And if any of you would like to stay after and chat with me, please feel free to.
Well, I'm happy that I was volunteering with the kindergarten classroom this morning because there's a big banner that hangs over the students when they do the pledge every day. And the banner says, "Character counts." And where have we gone as a society that character no longer counts in politics? That it's somehow acceptable that elected officials no longer follow the rules. They have their new set of game rules. Now, in my household, it meant I had to ban board games for a while because my 3 kids, we couldn't follow the rules and just play the game honestly. Unfortunately, we can't take a time out in politics like that, but we probably need one. We need people elected to office that you're extremely proud of, that are leaders, that are role models in the communities that they serve, and more importantly, that they're not in office to use that office for personal gain, but they're there to serve their constituents. And ladies and gentlemen, that is what brought me to service in local politics, and that is what I'm committed to. As the mayor of Encinitas, as a small business owner, chief financial officer of a company, and as the mother of 3 young children, I want to make sure that this county continues to be as wonderful as I found it and better than that, for the future of our young people and the future of our residents here today. I ask for your vote and to visit GasparForSupervisor.com, and I thank you for your participation this evening.
All right, so that concludes our supervisorial debate. We want to thank all of you for joining us here at Petco's National Support Center. Hope you enjoyed the discussion, and don't forget to get out and vote. Thanks very much.